I wanted to sit down and just like, we have amazing conversation in here anyway, with just like when we're not making music. So I thought, why don't we just like whack a camera on and reason?
I grew up pretending to be West Indian. Rave crept in through, not hip hop actually, but reggae. Being around music, making music, because it actually fulfills me.
Yeah.
It actually makes me a better actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Because you just feel more complete.
Yeah, complete.
Do you ever break dance?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Backspins, munchkins. Munchkin is when you spin on your back and then you head up on your head.
Not when that's up on.
You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the ground like, raw.
You're in the Steeze Factory now.
Steeze Factory settings, we're back with this guy, regular, comes through this door more than the postman. Big Idris in the building. Walk easy.
Good, man. How are you?
Very well, good to have you back, bro.
Oh, it's nice to be here, man. It's the first time on the show, though.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for the opportunity. But before we get there, it's very simple ideology. I'm always interested in why people like the music they do and why and how it might inform how they are today. So, for example, you know what my first ever gig was? Just guess.
I'd say your first gig was up in Sheffield.
Yes.
I'd say it was probably like a local party, but something like a roller skating thing.
Ooh, actually, I never thought of that because we used to go ice skating and we did play music. But my first conscious show that I went to that I asked my dad for tickets for was Meatloaf.
Wait, what?
Meatloaf, bro.
Okay.
Sheffield Arena.
Right.
Yeah. And I only sort of got into that space because he had a tune on some. What was his big tune? You know, Tender, you know. Do anything for love.
That's a classic. I will
No.
do anything for love, but won't do that.
Oi, listen.
Anyway,
that said, then as I got older and I discovered my own, I guess, like tribalism within music as opposed to the commercial thing that was exposed, that's how I formed my musical love and identity. What was the first record you could ever remember hearing?
First record I ever can remember hearing was Let's Get It On Marvin Gaye.
Oh,
First record I remember. I've got a picture of it. My dad gave me the record to hold it, and he allowed me to put the vinyl. I've got a picture of that moment. But that's the first, because I remember I putting it down. I was like, oh, the sound's coming out of this and the thing's playing.
It's a very delicate way of presenting music them times, because obviously I presume your father had multiple records and a deck.
Yeah, it's a bit like this, to be fair.
Yeah. And you have to really place it.
Yeah.
And these things were, you work for these things them times, right?
Yeah. You see how you're doing that right there? My dad would have clapped me on the back of my head. It was like, it had to be like that. Then he had to lift up the shirt, whap, 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 and then it's on down, boop, like that.
And then the needle goes across. See, he's more pro than me. And that record, how old were you then? Do you remember? Approximately.
Probably about 3 or 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And my dad had mad records like this, but that would have been a new record then time there. And we had the album, and boy, it was amazing. Let's Get It On Marvin Gaye. Would have been it would have been a new record, I think.
Yeah. And your dad obviously massively into music.
Yeah.
Where's your dad from?
My dad's from Sierra Leone.
Right.
And my mum's from Ghana.
Right.
But they both were raised in Sierra Leone.
Got it. And then they came to Britain to work.
Yeah.
And you were
and
product of that beautiful...
Year one when they got here.
Is it? Active. Listen, man, work after run.
Sorry, Mum. Sorry.
No,
don't get mad
listen,
at that.
it's love. But you are a product of that whole situation. And musically in London, we have this melting pot. We discuss a lot about stuff we love. And people have records. And we're all from different communities, and we meet and we share this unified vibration, even though we're from different places.
Yeah.
When you're a bit older now, and you had the opportunity to potentially find your tribe, can you remember what that was and how you navigated into that space?
It's interesting because, like, my dad and my uncle was the DJ, yeah? And we used to go with him where he went. So what he would play for weddings and christenings with that was lots of calypso and reggae.
Dope.
And this is like late 70s, early 80s. So, I grew up listening to everything in that space. African music, Congolese music that I really didn't even understand, but I listened to that. And I liked what my dad liked, because my dad played music really, really loud.
Dope.
My uncle played his music really loud in the car, so we just ended up liking songs that I didn't even understand, quite frankly. But when the first record I ever bought was DISCO by Ottawa.
Oh,
You know that tune?
Nah. But
DISCO.
big tune.
Big tune.
Yeah.
7-inch. Them time my dad, I was probably about 8, my dad bought me a little hi-fi in my room.
Dope.
Brethren, got my 7-inch. It was pink, I'll never forget. And it had a hole in it, so I had to put the thing in it, the little adapter. I remember putting that record on, man, and I played that shit loud. And my dad came and stood by the door just watching me, and I was just like...
Did he like that record?
I think it was just a popular record at the time, but I don't think he loved it.
Yeah. He was on deeper cuts.
Yeah. For me, it was weird. Why that record? It wasn't like it was like a child-friendly record. It was just... It's a big disco tune. I don't know why I love that record. Yeah.
And it's a very bright, fun record. How old were you then?
Big record. I was probably about 8.
Right.
8.
So it's funny with you because we work on different projects together. And I don't think people realise the depth of your musical knowledge because you do music, you act, you're this icon, blah, blah, blah. But really, the root of you to me is music. Knowing you as a person. And it's right funny because I think obviously it's none of my business and I don't know how your infrastructure works, but I presume that it's more beneficial to a lot of people for you to go maybe do an advertisement or a seminar or a big role in acting than come to Toddla T. But you love it so much, you need it.
I do.
You need it.
It's weird because when we're, I do all these different things, and the music side for a long time, to your point, was not neglected, but it was sort of like, but when we've got time.
Yeah.
Rah. And now we've shifted that. Like, we're making very, very clear decisions around being around music, making music, because it actually fulfills me.
Yeah.
It actually makes me a better actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Because you just feel more complete.
Yeah, complete. I just feel way more. If you neglect it, I'm always frustrated that my shadow cousin back there is grumpy sitting there going, come on, man, let's go to Toddlers. Like, no, we're not going to Toddlers today, man. You're going to see Brad Pitt over there. I don't mean that.
No, totally. I get that all the time. People come in here and say, I know they didn't come today because Robert De Niro want me to come to his shoot. I don't know. I hear you, though. No, I get it. I think it's so embedded in you, and I really respect your graft on it and craft and knowledge. As you come out of that disco 45 era, I guess that was like pre-hip-hop, was it?
Yeah.
Wow, so you was around for the birth of rap.
Yeah, definitely. Right there. So that was like 78, 79, and hip-hop was 80.
Right.
And it was, I was there. I think the first hip-hop record I ever heard was probably Rapper's Delight. Mm-hmm. But I also feel it was a Cool Herc record as well.
Yeah.
And I remember that by the time it must have got to the UK, only the hits. So, it was all the top 40 stuff that was really making it over.
Yeah.
But then the underground stuff that was brewing in the Bronx them time there, was seeping into my uncle's record boxes.
Yeah.
Like the early New York sort of, what's that music they call it? It's kind of like electro.
Yeah, the electro, like the African Bambaataa was traditional. Yeah.
That stuff wasn't on the radio yet, but that stuff was seeping into our records because electro, there's this one tune, you started dancing, da, 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 da. Do you know that tune?
I know it already from your beautiful tones.
I'm butchering it, but that record, I remember it came over, my uncle was like, this is a 12-inch import.
How much was a record, you reckon, them times for your uncle? Probably equivalent.
Boy.
Expensive purchase and import them time there.
I remember like the Ottawa tune in 78 was probably about 85p.
Yeah.
And by the time I was buying records, imports were like good £3, £4.
Yeah, so the difference between import and what you could call it a local was completely different.
Completely different, yeah.
Because a lot of them produced, so for people that don't know, people would produce vinyl in Britain, and that would be more mainstream releases that demanded a lot more purchases. I don't know if I've got any here. And then if you really wanted what was new and up front, you get an import, which came from America, and they were more pricey. They were more traditionally for the heads or the DJs.
Yeah.
When this explosion came in from the States, you had a nice into the more deep-rooted sound by your uncle. Breakdancing.
Yeah.
How did that influence your whole vibe? Did you ever breakdance?
Yeah, I did, massively. Like I was first in to learn how to like do crazy legs backspins, munchkins. Munchkin is when you spin on your back
Can you
and then
still
your
do
head
it?
up on your head.
Not with that top on.
You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the ground like, rah. I might have to kick up some
Your
lights or
management,
something.
your management now, they're not feeling it, you know, that they don't know that your back is worth a lot of money these days.
Doctor
No,
look
but
at
you
me
were
like,
active in the
so
dance scene.
how did you break your back? No, so I did definitely, I got into it immediately, you know, and everyone did in my neighborhood. Like I lived in Hackney and everyone was like, we got the vinyl out, you know what I'm saying? Everyone had their little tracksuits and breaking.
Incredible.
Yeah, man. And I feel like that was definitely for me like what it really. I love the music, but when the dance and the culture and how you dressed and you know what I mean, like getting a getting a goose jacket. I couldn't get a goose jacket. I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
But getting a puffy, you know what I mean, jacket. You could get one. You know what I mean, the little ski mask, not ski mask. Yeah, ski mask. Like put that on the side of your head.
Incredible.
It's mad. You go into school like that. When I was about 11, 12, everyone's like, yeah.
You're the man.
Yeah.
So US rap culture was active them time there, even then. Not to the degree it is that here. That was probably, you could argue, the start of your finding your tribe. Because it was a youth culture movement too at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah. I feel like when you say tribe and I think about everything that everyone was listening to at the time and who are you with? Because again, I grew up in sound system, right? So my uncle's sound system was the tribe. And when I was growing up, by the time I was 13, 14, he was letting me take over. And so we was going from playing Calypso and them tuned in to like, now we're playing early ragga, now we're playing hip hop. And that became my tribal stance, you know what I mean? It's
Sound
like,
system
okay,
culture.
Yeah.
Which is the way that is presented is a very uniquely British experience.
It is, yeah.
Because in other countries, of course, that exists, but the way Britain has done it for years is unique to our melting pot and broth of culture.
100%.
And I love it. And I think the celebration of it is active through what we hear all the time. So the music in the charts it could be a product of that. And for me and you, playing a Calypso record and a house record isn't that strange. Yeah. But to a lot of people, it is. But that is a uniquely British experience. So you're 14, 15, now you're on sound system.
Yeah.
Are you DJing?
I'm DJing, but I'm DJing for my uncle.
Right.
And, you know, that's when I started, because breakdancing turned into scratching. Literally 2 turntables. My boy Boogie, Richard, who used to call himself Richie Rich back in the day after another DJ, but he was one of the first people in the UK I saw scratch like the Americans did, right? And he was like amazing at it. And so that became my transition. It was like I went from like sound system with my uncle to scratching, cutting up records for rapping.
Got it.
And then he was my DJ, I was MCing.
Oh, okay.
And that's how that started, like early, like when I was like 13 years old.
Yeah, like sort of mid-80s?
Mid-80s, yeah.
So you're mic man for the sound and
Exactly.
the DJ.
It's interesting, right, because I moved from Hackney, which was a melting pot.
Yeah.
To your point, you know, sound system was heavily celebrated in Hackney. The dances were mixed, even though I was in the dances as with my uncle, but it was white, black, you know, Asian, all cultures to the sound systems. Most of the DJs were black though, but the music was everything.
Yeah.
When I got to Canning Town, it was different.
Really?
Yeah, man, it wasn't as multicultural.
What was the vibe there then? More monotonic in terms of the crowd or?
So the music culture of Canning Town back then was like real soul heads.
Got it.
Like proper soul heads, like rare groove, souls, discos and that. But the white boys were playing that, quite frankly. Like all the DJs and the sounds were, you know, the white boys playing black music.
Right.
And there was integration in the dances because, you know, they're playing black music, right? But on the streets and the culture and my neighbours, it was not multicultural. So that was a bit of a shift for me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So that's where when I started rapping, I was literally 13. My first rap group was called Ultra Demus. Me and my guys,
Brilliant.
me and Razak and Boogie. And I remember what we were rapping about. We were rapping literally about. It was almost like in America at the time, they were rapping about the street culture, you know, New York streets, hustling and all of that. And that, when we got to the UK, we were rapping in UK American accents.
Yeah.
Rapping about our street and our culture. And I ended up rapping about living in Canning Town, you know, growing up, you know what I mean, concrete jungle, stuff like that. Like...
Well, I think at that time, I wasn't there. There was no reference to like British accents in the music. So there was no one yet to go and do that to show you, A, you can do that, and B, actually, it works.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I remember like, I think it was like the Wee Papa Girl rappers. They were 80s and they were rapping and they sounded sick.
Were they English?
They were English, yeah, Wee Papa Girl. But they were, I think they were from up north, and when they rapped, they had a little twang.
Really?
It was definitely American, but you could hear like they had a little UK thing going on.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, really?
Never. That's what I'm saying. Like this bro lives it, man.
Papa Girl rappers, yeah, man. They were big, and then them time the MC Duke. Do you remember MC Duke?
Yeah, I've heard of MC Duke.
I Believe in Miracles.
Yeah,
he had a big tune them time there. And he rapped in an American accent. I thought he was American.
Oh, yeah, well, we did for years, so many, but even in my gen, which is coming up in a minute when we get there. So you're outside, you're at the dance. American culture is really prominent now in the sound system aspect of the party. Mid-80s, right?
Yeah.
How did rave creep in your life?
Mid-80s, rave crept in through not hip-hop, actually, but reggae. You know what I mean?
Such a valid point.
For me, it was reggae. Because the reggae rhythms and the rave culture, there was always little samples of reggae in early rave music. To me, I could hear it, you know what I mean? Whether they were like speeding up old Studio One rhythms and putting that breakbeat on them. And you know what I mean? All of that started to lead us to like, wow, what's this stuff?
Yeah.
And so obviously jungle came a little bit later, but that creep into dance music for me was reggae. That said, obviously disco and house was really obviously interlinked, and like the vibe from New York City, which also came, which didn't have reggae influence, but came via hip hop, that sort of like breakbeat, you know, cutting up Good Times, damn records, you know what I mean? House dance records, I mean, not house, disco records that DJs were cutting up, ended up also being a route into house and dance to me.
If you like the vibrations coming out of this here Steeze Factory, there's plenty more. Just subscribe.
Chicago music became the rhythm.
Yeah. In particularly in the house space, right?
House, but even the pop records, like, what's his name? Can't you see I'm so cold, and I know what to do. That guy, do you remember that tune?
Nah, bro.
You don't?
Nah, but I'll know it when it's being sang by the artist.
But let's sing it properly. Can't you see I'm trapped.
Right.
I don't know what to do. But that era of music from Chicago, where it was dance, sort of soul, big.
Incredible. I always have a big affinity with the Detroit sound because Sheffield was a steel town. The industry got, what's the word? It doesn't exist anymore. Similar with Detroit, the car thing. So the spaces that we use for raves are quite similar. The kit we had was similar. Techno was born out of Detroit, but Sheffield as well. The warp scene. Robert Gordon made one of the first ever techno records, Track with No Name by Forge Masters. He was a Rasta man, still is a Rasta man. Lives on my mum's road, and his ethos on that record was, it's like steppers.
Oh shit!
So when you hear that rhythm, that's what it is, and it's got a dirty bass line on. So like this weird like Sheffield Detroit thing.
What tune is that again?
It's called Track Master. Sorry, it's by Forge Masters. Called Track with No Name.
Track with No Name.
Yeah.
And it was made on what drum machine?
Well, I think he borrowed a 303 or an 808 and had a go. He wasn't a techno producer, he was a reggae man.
Oh, shit.
That's what I mean.
I love stories like that.
And he was right mad because Robert in Sheffield, he's like, you never knows who Robert is because he's Robert Gordon, but he used to walk past my mum's house all the time. Growing up, I'd see this guy just walk past. And then years later, I heard about Robert Gordon and I needed a synth fixing, so I took it to Robert Gordon. I was like, oh, Ron, that's you who walks past my house all the time. Arguably responsible for one of the biggest, part of a swell of the biggest cultural moments in not just British black music, but music. Techno now is a multi-million business, right? Yeah. So I think there's so much responsibility from sound system and black culture, not responsibility, birth of these things that naturally we don't know, and that's no bad thing. But in the rave scene particularly, it started as this like oppressed music and expression, gay people, people that were like marginalised out of mainstream clubs. And that's why, in a way, I guess it worked alongside the rap records and the ragga records and all that. And to me, that's very blatant because of my musical background. But I don't think people realise that when they're, at Park Life raving. And that's fine, it's not a disrespect. But it really is rooted in, rave music is rooted in that similar struggle as reggae, soul, etc.
Yeah, oppression music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Yeah. So now so that's happening. And then we're in the ragga samples and that in it. And then that's when Jungle went
massive.
I'm so jealous of that era and not being around.
Bro, I mean, it was interesting because like in Forest Gate, I was like, by them times I was in Canning Town and I lived in this part of East London, right? Not Hackney sides, but this part which is Stratford, Forest Gate, West Ham, Canning Town, all them ends, right? A lot of people came from that way. But M-Beat.
Oh yeah.
M-Beat was like from Forest Gate, and he was chopping up reggae samples blatantly, like just ripping them, boom, 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 half time, dropping the mad basses on it. And when you hear those records, man, they're like so handmade, literally.
Yeah.
Because you know how you to like sample the record, press the red button. He was using an MPC at the time.
Yeah, drum machine.
Sample it, and then he was doing the beats, and then he was mixing it. It was coming out in an 8-track. I mean, them records there, bro, you can't even. You know what I mean? Like
no, you can't replicate that kind of energy anymore because of the kit, time, and the way they were doing it. And
the way you're doing it.
That's why that music still just sounds so spiritual.
It sounds like because it's made with people's actual, like when you listen to like early hip hop and them drum machines and how they were sampling. Like when you think about Premier, you think about Dilla. Pete Rock and them, man, where they was making them records. You know what I'm saying? And then you compare it to the same Jungle making them records with their hands. Yeah. It's all analog you're hearing, you know what I mean? You can hear the hiss of the electricity coming through it. And in a way, when you get into a dance and someone's played a jungle tune and like the whole church of the dance, everyone's wheeling up at the same time, that is spiritual. That's definitely spiritual.
You see that time of Jungle, yeah? 'Cause I was about 8 or something, so I can remember seeing some of my older community like leaning into that fashion. And it was, to me, it's like a ragga vibration.
Yeah.
Like, so it was very West Indian influence, but my local community would express their love for jungle was almost like as a dancehall star.
Yeah.
So to see it's a Carl Canny and the Fate, similar to what Shabba was doing, but they were jungleists. Yeah. Did that affect your sense of identity at that time in terms of like, were you dressing like that? Were you you know what I'm saying?
It's funny, man, because Jungle had a whole, so if you're in a reggae dance, right? You're in a reggae dance, you've got your little wallabies on, you know what I mean? Your Fred Perry on, boom, right? DJ might play a jungle tune, but you're not in a jungle dance.
Got it.
But when you go to a jungle dance, you might as well have been up the West End. Man, they were like, fresh, champagne, chaps, money, money I mean.
Got it.
Yeah. Because jungle was like opulent. It was like, it was ragga. Yeah, but the way people was running in jungle was like, they had money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the girls dressed wicked.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that, when you think about like early like garage and that like, Twice as Nice, Cosa Nostra and all them in there, similar vibe. You know what I mean? People with money, you know what I mean? Raving.
Yeah. So, well, it's a way, what's the word? It's a way of showing aspiration publicly, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, outside we've got a bit of bread. We love this music. Let's check us out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that soundtracks a lot of people through different eras. So naturally UK Garage did that as well.
I feel like, with jungle, we go to a reggae dance, it would be mostly black people, mainly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get a mix here and there. But you go to a jungle dance now, it's a mix-up.
Yeah.
You got the white girls, the black guys, the white guys, black girls.
Yeah.
Everyone's going into it.
It was, an experience that could only have been birthed here in Britain.
Yeah, it's
unquestionably. True. There's no way that music could have existed without it starting here.
I agree with that,
Because, we're chopping up well, not me personally, they're chopping up reggae records that the elders had, bringing European breaks in. You know, we're catering to like a white audience at the same time who understand the rave. Like, it's just another pillar of British sound system history that is just beautiful.
Yeah. I feel like when you think about like Germany and Berlin having a big techno scene, and I'm talking about techno at BPM 130, 140, 130, blah, blah, blah. Which that music was very much German. It's not even Detroit. It was quite specific to European sound. But when you go to those dances, you sort of see a certain type. It's like goths. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like heavy tech heads.
It feels like a tribe to me.
Yeah, it feels like a tribe. But jungle was, like you say, it was the UK mix. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone culturally, and that was a tribe. And that, to your point, is why UK is so unique musically. It's unique culturally. You know what I mean?
Totally. Do you think in 2025 that kind of like quote unquote tribalism still exists? Because the access of music now is completely different, right? And the way you can express that is different. And you know, this is them hardcore junglists. It's like, I'm a junglist, and it presented their identity. Mods, goths, rockers, hip hop guys. Now, I don't know. I'm not outside like yourself. Do you see in the clubs an affinity with sound like it once was?
In the same way. What's interesting for me is that, and I must have said what's interesting about 9,000 times.
It's fine, it's an interesting conversation.
Every time I say something, I say, what's interesting?
I'm such an interesting guy.
That's what it is. I'm annoying myself saying it, but what's interesting is,
I can't help but be interesting. No, for real.
But I feel like, you know, that golden era where, you know, the music is being birthed into the culture, you can never replace that. That happened.
Zeitgeist, is that the right word?
The zeitgeist, yeah. The absolute moment it happened, you know what I mean, the birth of a star. You can't get that again. But what's happening now is that, interestingly enough, is the cultures are being replicated, being sort of now coveted again. It's like people buying vinyl again, right? And it's having its underground moments where people were sort of replicating what it was like when it first came out. But I feel like the tribalism is definitely dissipated. I think online you get real hardcore people that love their D&B, they love their jungle, they love their hip hop and that, and they'll say they're in. But to go to a whole warehouse where everybody's on a junglist thing, I don't know if that even exists anymore.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Everyone wearing similar clothes and being like, I've got my bottle of Hennessy and my bottle of Moet by my foot. I've got my chaps.
It's like a flag in the sand for who I am type vibe in that moment, isn't it?
I hope, though, new generations, as they discover that music, like, you know, get into it. Like, you know, when you think about people that still celebrate music from the 40s and they go to those dances and dress like that, dance like that, but it's the music from the 40s. I'm hoping that you'll get people that sort of celebrate the music that came between the 80s and the 2000s. Because to me, that music right there is the foundation for a lot of things.
I agree. I think that's why we constantly revisit it as well. Like, we reference it all the time, whether we're playing it or when we make stuff, always goes back to there. Jungle, like a lot of scenes, kind of bubble, did its thing. You know, the young brother of that junglist said, I want to create my own version. In comes garage and the darker sound of garage. What was your involvement in that part of British sound system culture, if at all?
So for me, that time was like when I was sort of like taking off as a young actor. And kind of like, I was on pirate radio most of the jungle area, you know, playing hip hop, playing jungle, playing a bit of everything, And then I was in and out of New York quite a bit, and I was getting my imports in New York. I would go to New York.
Would you be in New York because you would have acting shows there, gigs?
No, but I wanted to. So I was over there doing two things. One, buying records and buying Averex jackets.
Brilliant.
And then two, I was basically trying to audition.
Got it.
Trying to get my you know what I mean, my name about as an actor. And during that time, that's when garage was bubbling. You know what I mean? And I was coming back and forth into it. I didn't really, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't part of the whole wave. I used to DJ at Twice as Nice.
Oh, really?
But yeah, but with, they had 2 rooms. And them times it was like Carl, the boss Windross, and Carl Tough Enough Brown.
Yeah, Dream Team.
Norris, the boss, yeah.
Yeah.
Dream Team and them man there.
Yeah.
And in the soul room, which is where I was like Steve Sutherland, rest his soul. Trevor Nelson, them man there.
Yeah, amazing.
Can Function, and I used to do a set in there.
Wicked.
But I love the garage, but to me it felt a bit more like a jungle rave, if anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't really play it that much. So, and like I said, I had one foot in America. So for me, that time was sort of a little bit of a miss. I was in New York. I was going to dances where Biggie Smalls was like in the dance, like, right, is that Biggie Small, you know, before he passed, you know what I mean? Like,
well, what an incredible time to be in New York.
Crazy time.
Like,
crazy
golden.
Crazy time.
That was like a tipping point, wasn't it, from the US rap scene, from like this real DIY independence, the odd rapper gets a deal, to like, we are turning into a flipping industry of billions.
Billions, man. Money for Mech.
Money for Mech, for loads of people.
It was interesting because...
I'm an interesting guy.
But Brooklyn felt like home to me.
Really? Why is that then?
Just because, again, it was a melting pot between like Jamaican culture, West Indian culture, Spanish, Puerto Rican, Dominican culture, and the music, it was hip hop and reggae, a bit of salsa. And salsa was definitely more a Spanish thing.
Yeah.
But when you're driving along the streets, you could hear everything. And it was like, that's what, it felt home. That's why when I moved to America, I moved to Brooklyn.
Right.
Because it felt like, and I was used to Brooklyn because I used to go to a record shop that was in Fulton Street. And I went to Fulton Street because I knew I was a big Biggie fan, so I was like, I'm going to where he's from, Bed-Stuy.
Amazing.
Bed-Stuy or die.
Yes, man. So he's moved over there. What year was that when you moved to New York?
I fully moved over in 97, but I've been going there since I was sort of 93, 94.
And how long were you, did you have was it a full-time residency in New York? When you lived there?
Yeah,
full-time?
I mean, I was in and out, you know what I mean? I don't want to say too much because I definitely was illegal here and there.
Oh my gosh,
you know
listen,
what I mean?
especially nowadays, mate.
You know when
Trump will come for you.
them time like you might, you know, blast your visa, stay a month and that,
I get it.
and then come back
It was
and
also
be like,
pre-9/11, right? So it was a different. It was looser though. It was a looser. I get like why people would be able to feel like that was a bit more of a thing. You know, now it's different.
It's different.
It's funny with UK garage thing because I was like 16 when that went mental, and I just didn't like the MCs. I was like, don't sound like the rappers I like. It doesn't like it sounds a bit like a caricature or whatever. But it was because of my gen.
Wait, so what was the MCs that you liked?
At that time, I was obsessed with rap. Right, so let's do a lucky dip. What is this? Watch this not be a rap record. All right, this sums up my taste at the time. Right, watch this.
Meatloaf.
Underground Rail World by the Mastermind. Proper backpack shit. Like proper like rap is a breakbeat.
Let me see.
And it's like, you can only rap about rapping. Do you know what I mean? And obviously the more affluent stuff. Like, there you go, mate. My favourite record of all time.
Jeez. Did you mean to do that?
No, I didn't. It was there. It was literally there. So I loved the US rap, but at the same time, there was a counterculture in British rap with Rodney P, Task Force, Skinny Man, Black Twang, all these guys who were super, quote unquote, underground and had a very small core audience, but they rapped with their native tongue. So when I hit garage, I was like, that's not American. And so I was just like not into it. But then grime, for me, just reset the whole thing. For me and my generation and my age, I'm 40, that was the moment of like, this is everything. And this is, a flag in the sand that will never leave. And that's why I fell in love with it so much, because the production was just like, British as it gets. The MCs was take that, what? They got a Nokia, take that, what? You know what I mean? Tiger, like just everything that I thought was British in a scene, and it kind of reset. Any American accents, can't do that anymore.
That's so true.
Can't do that.
That's so true.
And for me and my generation, that period was my even though it's birthed out of reggae, 100%. That's kind of my root and cornerstone. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my kind of anchor of what I think is my
Like
sound.
the rappers that you were talking about, the UK lot that were definitely rapping in the UK accent.
Yeah, 100%.
The Black Twans, the Skinny Man, and then not, but they were rapping on American beats.
American style beats,
beats, yeah.
Whereas the grime thing was a complete different interpretation.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, Skinny Man's my hero, Black Twang is my hero.
Yeah.
Like Oots Maneuver, these are my superheroes, and I don't think they ever got the love that they deserve still to this
I
day.
think they did, you know.
But when you
But not internationally.
no, but like in terms of like, there's always this narrative of the, you know, British black music, and I feel like that was so counterculture and underground, they just kind of skip it a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
And like, you know, doing gigs for like no money and all that type of thing.
That's true. Like,
So-
remember Kashikov?
Of course!
That
That
album,
is
that album
danger.
there.
Like,
Murder.
yeah,
Shout out to Harry Love.
Harry Love, big up yourself, legend. All that scene, it was like, so yeah, when that grime thing come along, and then they were like, yeah, it was, to me, that was a similar time, mid-noughties, where I was outside playing, so I could incorporate that into my sets. And what is unique about grime is similar to jungle, is it's as rave as it is hip hop to me.
Yeah.
So I can play like a rhythm from a producer in like quite a techie rave and get away with it.
Get away with it,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was like the banging between rave culture and rap culture and obviously sound system culture. And so that for me was that still to me the most exciting and important moment of musical history in Britain that I've lucky enough to be around with.
That time for me, I missed a lot of that time. The birthplace of grime. So I got winds of it. I was in America, but I missed the real birthplace.
Yeah.
I caught up,
Yeah.
but I wasn't really in them dances time there. So I'm 52, so I'm older than you.
Yeah.
And so time I was in America, grime was busting off. I wasn't really here for it. But it definitely, you know what I mean, made waves around the world for me, because it was like a real, its own unique sound. Guys were rapping in their own accents, you know what I'm saying? And then obviously the big songs like Pow and like Skep's records and, you know what I mean, Boy Better Know, all them records I heard, but like the real underground stuff.
Like the kind of like, I love the rhythm-driven culture of it as well. It was like rhythm-driven, so like you get a rhythm and everyone would spray on it. So that was just like the dancehall culture. And the
what happened to that? Why don't we do that no more?
I think it's to do with the fact that they've started making records as opposed to doing sets. But now it's come back around. Like Wiley and Bizzle have rebirthed that new rhythm track that everyone's on, and obviously everyone's back outside doing the streams, aren't they? So there's that thing of like put that beat on that we know works and show how good you are.
I'm here for that, man. I am here for that. That's because reggae music thrived off that. You know what I mean? The counteractions. You know what I mean? As a DJ, you got one rhythm, 12 artists on it, and you're showing off. Like I'm here for that for this.
You know what?
For UK music,
it's the grime thing for me was a cornerstone. Then naturally, because it became so culturally relevant and popular, that birthed where we are now in British black music in terms of like who are our superheroes. They're all like part of that birth to me. And like again, we shared a beautiful moment with one of the originators of that scene, Wiley. With the Boasty record. In fact, you know what? Let me just show off real quick.
Go on then.
Because you know, so like
Bring it in.
I've got two, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I'll sell you one if you want. Like this to me, on so many levels, was such an honour to be involved in. And I need to say that Mucky, the guy that produced this, it's his and Wiley's vision, and I was a co-pilot. So people say, Tony, you do roast. No, I didn't. I just helped on it. And here we have one of the birth people of the grime. Pioneers. We have this guy who's told us the history. We have this guy
look a bit like Bashy there, don't
you? You do, don't you?
Yeah.
Lucky guy, both of you handsome human beings. If you ain't danced to this guy in your life, you didn't leave your house.
Shandapal.
And Steph, again, a super unique, that in my opinion, could only be birthed out of a British sound and culture, and it celebrated and it went international. And it was funny to me because I didn't think it would go the way it went and what it did. But the most beautiful and maddest part of it for me was I finished the majority of this in the old Steeze Factory over the road. And that carnival, it was everywhere. And I would drive past the studio door on a float knowing that the majority of the finishing was done in this little room. And it just was just so beautiful to see a vibration that we'd collectively done be spread into a space and a place of just complete unity and love and celebration of culture.
Yeah, man. Listen, when I first heard Boasty, the original Boasty, it was like on a because the record had been out,
Yeah.
and it really didn't catch on hard like that. And I remember I was just listening to this tune, just loving this tune. It took me back to my early youth days where, you know, he even says it, fling a rag of rhythm like soul free, you know what I mean? It took me back there. And then I remember hitting Wiley up. I was like, yo, big man, let me remix this, man. He's like, have at it. You know what I mean? Just go on in. And then, you know, that moment became coming to you. I went to Steph first, and Steph was like, yeah, I'll jump on this. And then she got Sean. Then we got you, and you helped bring it all in. And it was like, to me, one of the most like, that process of like, you know, collaboration where you got MCs, DJ, producer, legend, you know what I mean? Like you can, and then rebirthing the record in that way, it's a very unique UK thing to do.
Big time.
Very, very
That's
unique.
why I was surprised how far it travelled. Because like Jamaicans were sending me videos, people in New York were sending me videos. Like I was like, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Because it often doesn't export as much as you think the UK thing. So when it does, we celebrate it. We love it.
Yeah. When you get a big record in New York and it comes from London, it's a big tune.
Yeah.
New York is like it's, for me, still a mecca of, you know what I mean?
Music,
if it makes it, if it makes it big in New York.
Yeah, big time.
Big time.
No, it was an honour and a joy. And then I guess that was a bit of a birth of like the commercialisation or the mass appeal, should I say, of British black music in a new form. And it was beautiful to celebrate. At the same time as this, though, what was really beautiful to see was like this like world sound happening. So it was less like we said earlier about you go to a junglist and rip. So like this record sounds like Britain, it sounds a bit Jamaica, it sounds like South America, it sounds like Europe. But you could play it with Afrobeat, you could play it with pop and all that. And the Afrobeat thing simultaneously, which has been happening in Africa forever, became on the lens of like, I guess, British popularism as valid as the sound system references we had. Now, you all have African heritage, of course. That must be beautiful for you to see that country like commercially be accepted like never before.
I mean, you're talking about the Nigerian music.
Just African music in the mainstream in 2025 from a European lens.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, you know, it feels like Afrobeats versus what we're actually calling Afrobeats is two different things.
Gotcha.
Right? Like the actual sound of Afrobeat is an older sound, which people like Fela Kuti and some of the funk African artists that are coming from Ghana and Sierra Leone and were making this sort of like very James Brown inspired African music.
Got it.
And that's originally what is Afrobeat. And there's a couple of drummers that made a certain that sound like drum breakbeat, which is Afrobeat. But what the music that's come now, where is this hybrid of sort of like reggaeton, reggae, Afrobeat, African melodies, which is a very whole different thing altogether. To me, that's like, it's magic when I listen to it. Like Nigerian music, if you listen to old school Nigerian music, you know, you'll hear like Sunny Ade, them guys there, like really old school, like guitars, sounds similar to like Congolese music from Central Africa, right? But still has that sort of rumba, you know, African, rumba, Mexican sounding guitars in it. So to have that hybrid come up and then on rhythms like what Thames is doing, what WizKid's been doing, you know, and what Burner's doing, man, that is magic to me because they sound very, very African notes, African scales. Drums are sounding a bit more raga, you know what I mean? And obviously Southern Africa's now where they've got that sort of amapiano tech house sound that has definitely got their own sound to it, that log drum, right? To me, that's magic.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me of when music was being sort of exploding in the UK. It reminds me of that because it's like, right, this is a new sound. You know what I mean? These are new artists. You know what I mean? You've got artists that are still undiscovered that are just shelling it in their neighborhoods, especially like in South Africa, because the hybrid of sort of like dance music and Afro and Amapiano and all the sort of like hybrids that are being born out of that right now is still fresh, man.
Yes.
And then you're hearing it in Brazil with the Bali funk sound.
Yeah.
That stuff is like
incredible, yeah. And that's always been happening. There's a phrase Kofi Stone says on his album, nobody cares till everybody cares. I love that phrase, you know. And I feel like with the African music is obviously so, I think Africa's huge. Like, come on, bro. It's the essence of all of this music if you want to track it back far enough.
It's the drum, innit?
Yeah, but what has happened now is you've got these stars that we love and we admire and we want to be like them, and it's almost put like Africa on the center stage, and the aspiration is there, which I presume is quite a new thing in music, in Britain anyway. Like growing up, like everything we've referenced, it all comes from Africa really, but hip hop, jungle, rave, it's all got like a West Indian type of lens from it, whereas this is like Africa. And I presume for young African people that is beautiful and installs confidence in their existence in Britain.
An identity, you know. I grew up pretending to be West Indian. You know what I mean? Like, it was more like if you got laughed at with a name like Idrissa Elba, I was getting laughed at registration, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With Jason Smith, he wasn't getting laughed at.
No, for sure.
And so now, like, seeing people talk about, I come from Ghana. I mean, most people are in the music scene are either African descent now, more so than Caribbean music. And I think that's amazing. And I like the hybrid. I'm not into all this sort of like, it's cultural misappropriation. I get it. Culture vulturing is culture vulturing. I get that.
Yeah.
But I love hearing Jamaican artists on an African rhythm,
absolutely.
And vice versa. I know there are people and purists who be like, no, that can't work. But to me, that's bullshit.
Yeah, fact.
I love it. And I think, we're seeing American artists jump on the wave.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels a bit disingenuous, it doesn't feel real, but actually I'm there for it because you're taking African music, African source music, sounds, scales, notes, melodies, and putting them in a higher plane, and I like that.
Next generation can hopefully express that within them without feeling that shame that you had as a kid on the thing. I mean, that name's incredible. Say it again. No, seriously.
Idrissa Elba.
Steeze. That is hard.
Yeah, but when I was growing up, I couldn't say that.
No, I get it. I totally understand. I remember as a kid, that being the lens on the African community. 100%, bro. From all areas. Yeah. So I totally know, and I've seen it with my own eyes, and I'm seeing now the opposite, and I think it's beautiful. Yeah. What a journey, man. That's what I'm saying. He could be making a lot of money for a lot of people right now, but you know what he's doing? He's talking about garage raves and grime MCs and African music, and he needs it. He needs it, and that's one of the reasons we love him. My brother.
Toddla T.
That's me.
Love it, man.
That's it.
Hey!
You're in the Steeze Factory now.